All right.
Good morning, everyone. It's October 17th, 2025. It's 9:02 in the morning. This is a meeting of the Weston Board of Education Facilities and Finance Committee. First item on the agenda, we have a quorum. First item on the agenda is Mike's review of current facilities activities.
Sounds good. Good morning, everybody. All right. I think status quo on campus. Everything's going really well. Change over to heat. We have a couple repairs we're working on, a couple of units, one in a few schools. Dectron unit at the pool has an issue, broke down a couple weeks back. Parts are on order. We're hoping to have them in place at some point next week, and then the repair will be made. Luckily, not luckily, but we maintained the backup systems that were in play before the Dectron unit was installed.
What
So
does
we
that
keep
what does that do?
Dectron units for the pool. It's for the pool water temperature, dehumidification, any cooling, any heat added to the space. It does pretty much the entire pool facility. But we still had the older units from the 60s back with the banker units, so we keep them maintained at all times. We've done some upgrades to the to those systems because Dectron units, since we've had it for the last, I want to say 10 plus, has constantly been an issue. So we keep the other 2, 3 units up and running. Like I said, we did some upgrades to the electronics so we can actually control things on energy management. So when the Dectron unit went down, we put these last 3 units in play and we just monitor it on a daily basis. So
What what does that cost?
the repair,
Or yeah,
the units that we keep in play, which are we
to replace them.
to replace a Dectron unit?
Yeah, is it expensive or?
Boy, I don't recall what that unit cost. I want to say it was $250,000 back in 2015, 16 or so.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it's big dollars. So we just keep doing what we have to do with the units. It's got a big heavy wheel. And unfortunately, with the pool and it's not that they use the chlorine anymore, they use synthetic. So the unit doesn't really ever get a break. It's not like our units that we have in all the buildings that will run for, let's call it 10 to 12 hours a day, and then they're off. They're getting a break, they're getting rest, they're able to cool down. All the gases, all the liquids are able to cool. This unit just runs and runs. I'm trying to, once we get this unit back in play, is to get a conversation going and see if we can't give it a couple of hours of break in the overnight hours just to let it sit and rest because it's just, like I said, it's just one of those units that just never turns off. So it takes its abuse. Uh,
Phil, excuse me.
hmm,
Phil, when we start or you start talking about, what to do with the middle school, the whole school optimization, I think people have to have an appreciation of the importance of the swimming pool to the town. It is the only pool in town, right? So I don't know how many hours a day it's used. My guess it's quite a few.
It is.
And I think people have to understand that that has to stay in place or it has to be replaced if we were to do something like consolidate buildings, and just the overall cost of operating it because it's a necessary facility. We went through
Yeah.
this. I was on the board of the Westport Western YMCA when we went through this whole thing about moving the facility from downtown Westport to somewhere. And one of the gating issues was in Westport, there was one, like Weston, there was one public pool, indoor pool at the high school, used all the time. And the only other pool was at the Y. And if the town let the Y go away, they'd probably have to build a community center for a gazillion dollars. So I think that's a consideration we never talk about, Peter, but it's an important consideration.
Yeah, Colliers has addressed that. It was
Yeah.
on a big to-do list. And then when they gave their summary 18 months ago, they said, and if you add in the pool, here's your 3, 4,
Here's
$5
your
million.
cost.
Yeah, here's your $3, 4, $5 million adder. Right. So it's been documented, but it can't be forgotten. Right.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
No, it can't be forgotten.
Yeah, the pool's one of the most used rooms we have in this entire campus.
Yeah.
It's generally 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, roughly every day of the week. Holidays, doesn't matter. Yeah, so it's definitely a big entity what we have here in Weston. So
Yeah.
big part of-
Plus, if I recall, the swim teams are like state champions. So here's like your
Well,
key stadium, right, for
Yeah.
the best sport we got going, and it's up and running based upon a 30-year-old, machine that's on its last legs and smoking oil and stuff. So, I mean, it's a pretty risky single point of failure.
sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Okay. The other two issues that we have are high school and elementary school. Luckily, it's just cooling. It has nothing to do with the season that we're in now. So rooftop unit for science building, the multi-story building in high school, the refrigerant had an issue, catastrophic leak. So I was in a testing period for about three working days with our mechanical contractor. The leak was found, repairs being made. So that'll be 100% ready to go by the time we get back into cooling, which I don't think we'll see until next year, but you never know. October's a funny month. The second one is a chiller at the elementary school. Had a compressor issue, so we were able to run on. It's a double bank, so you have 2 and 2 compressors, 2 run at the same time, and 2 take a break, and it offsets lead lag. So we're waiting for parts to come in on that. That was a little bit more extended time, only because the material isn't just refrigerant or gas; it's actually compressor. So we're hoping to see that repair done, hopefully before Thanksgiving. As soon as it comes in, that'll be taken care of. That's it for our issues. Um, our, I'll get to a little bit of update for our capital that we had left open from the last meeting that we had. Energy management upgrade, the computer, the programming and all that stuff, the software upgrade is on slate for next Thursday. They had to work hand in hand with our IT department where they had to build a virtual server for the space for all our energy management, as well as any future growth. So that'll be being installed on Thursday, and then we'll work on to phase 2 where we have controllers, local controllers in all the buildings that are going to need to be replaced as time goes on. Wisp Playground is 100% complete. The playground equipment was put in a couple days after our last meeting, was put in on September 15th and 16th. So that area is all set between the drainage, the sod, and the playground equipment. Wish generator only took about 6 months to get in play. That was delivered on this past Monday. Luckily, our contractor with the crane company, with the nor'easter that was in place, they still were able to make this happen. So the old generator is gone. New generator's in place. It's going to be fueled up today, and then we'll start working with Tower to get the startup going and make sure all the transfers are working. I'm hoping to do that. Sorry, not November 4th, election day. It's a PD day. And I'm sure we're gonna have to transfer the school over a number of times. So if I know it's gonna be the 4th, we can schedule teachers in larger spaces where it won't affect anything. And that'll be up and ready to go. That is all I have for updates for facilities and grounds and maintenance.
There we go. Thank you.
Sure.
I guess the next item agenda, Peter, is healthy initiatives.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure if we're going to cover the lighting and the Hurlbut HVAC, but my contribution this week is I've been doing a lot of groundwork on IAQ sensors. I think there's a lot of legislation and requests for particularly carbon monoxide sensing around fuel sources. So I sent the guys some specs and what's happening in that world. I think there's a growing involvement of IAQ sensing in schools. I don't know if we need them or not for Hurlbut, but there's a local person that's sort of a global expert. And his other expertise, interesting enough, is how to fund things in creative ways. So if we want healthier buildings, maybe he's a good person to bring in and pick his brain for an hour.
Yeah, the devices are interesting. I don't know if I exactly like them in each classroom, but I definitely would like it through energy management to be able to sense that type of thing. So as we work with Landmark and as we move to the next stage, as long as it's approved for the North House, I like the idea. I just don't like it onto a wall in every space. I'd rather have it where we can get alarms and we could see things virtually. But the idea is tremendous. I do like it. Thank you for sending that off.
Right. The one feedback people get in that space is, should it be in every classroom? And if so,
Mhm.
is the plug available? Right. It's not, because it's usually blocked by something. And two, is it at the breathing level? Because that's the only level that really counts. Right.
Mhm.
So most people defer to exactly what Mike said, to where the monoxide is being generated, and it allows it to be alarmed. So I'm glad I was able to contribute.
Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
In getting onto your North House, we received an updated spreadsheet yesterday from Landmark, going over the various options, their recommendations. There's going to be they're going to do a presentation at the Board of Education meeting on Monday night to go over all the options, recommendations. They're going to go over their PowerPoint that they had sent us in a program. It looks to me we will be within our price range to move forward with this, even with the options that they presented. There was a menagerie of options again, because it's on us to decide, but with their recommendations, it's gonna be very similar to what we have with the change of the space at the E-wing of the high school that was done about 10 years ago. It's going to be VRF and, dedicated outdoor air system for makeup air and that thing. So I'm not going to get too deep into it because a full presentation is going to come, but happy to report that we are within our numbers. A couple upgrades will have to be done to electrical and things like that. And they'll have their full report and you guys can pick them apart and ask all the questions you want on Monday.
I guess one question I'll ask is as they were digging around, right, did they unearth any unanticipated things, right? Because that's always our big fear, that they go up, they look at the vents, and they go, over there you have a real engineering problem, right, which could plague any larger project.
Yeah, there was really no unseen because I walked him through and I gave him the ins and outs of the building, showed him everything. So there were no surprises that way. The only change for us would be, and it's not an option that we're leaning into, would be that if there was a rooftop unit put on the roof, structural wouldn't meet.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there were no surprises. What I told them that they were going to see, they saw. So no, I don't see any roadblocks.
Oh, good. One of the questions I'll ask is sort of what ventilation rates guidance are they meeting, right? Is it CDC driven? Is it state of Connecticut driven? Is it just rule of thumb driven? So they'll have a good answer for that, but that
Yeah,
sort of
it'll be,
drives your ventilation.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, this is a fun meeting so far. I get to talk HVAC. All right, we'll let Steve move on.
I guess you're up now, Phil.
Okay. Quick update. For the most part, things are trending in the way that we anticipated. To start the year, we have a modest deficit. Again, this is not an indication of where we will end the year, but just more so for informational to the board. We have a small deficit in salary line. We haven't met that target for turnover and FML savings just yet. But we do believe that we'll meet those savings or get close to that number. So right now we have a deficit in salaries of $211,000. Our professional services is trending to be slightly over budget by $67,000, driven by two main items. First, we did not account for consultant fees for Brown & Brown on the health insurance side. In the past 2 years, that cost was covered by the health insurance carrier. So we're at $35,000 for that. We have some additional costs for technology. Again, some costs that we did not fully account for. And then we had a one change to one of our software, our virtual net server. I think it's a virtual server. The cost for that was the subscription fees were going up. So we pretty much changed subscription fees. So there was cost involved in the migration of those services. Just want to head back real quick to benefits. Just the trend, I think, as we've seen in the past years, claims for both medical and RX continue to be a concern, not necessarily for our active plan and also for our Medicaid plan. Our Medicare plan will be going up by about 29% for all the reasons that were outlined in the memo. So this is a supplemental plan that we have for 5 retirees. So the net cost for that over the one year term is going to be close to $11,000. On the state partnership plan for their year ended June 30th, the plan had high claims both for medical and for RX. As of June 30th, the plan had a negative fund balance. What that means for us is that we could have slightly greater than average increases on our premium increases for fiscal year 27 and beyond. But we'll continue to monitor that, and as we get more information from the state, we'll pass it on. Special education, as we have always mentioned, those costs are driven by individual needs. We had some changes to placements that caused our transportation costs to be greater than anticipated. Right now, as it stands, we are slightly over on our tuition line, slightly below on settlement. So net, I think we're pretty much level there. So again, it all depends on what the needs are. We continue to monitor that, but special education is highly volatile, and we could have some changes there. On the positive front, we do project to have better than anticipated revenues for non-resident tuition. So we will be better than budget by $101,000. So all in, as I mentioned, the deficit for to start the year is about $300,000. Not highly concerned about it at this point in the year. We'll continue to monitor it, and if it really continues or if it gets worse, we'll of course inform the board.
Yeah, we were in a similar situation this time last year with, a large, and ended up just fine.
Correct.
I have 2 questions, Dee. I'll start with your last comment. So non-resident tuition, that was underestimated last February to April, but we were able to secure non-resident tuition now, which is good, right? I mean, they're non-resident. I think there was a little bit of a delay because of some things that needed to be worked out, but they're now producing revenue for us appropriately.
Yeah, I think so. When we did a budget last year, all the kids that were, let's say, there were the full pay students, they graduated. So the good news is that over the summer we had new non-residents applying to be a part of our district, and that's probably the main reasons why we have that change.
Excellent. I mean, we welcome all students, right? 2 is, again, going back to the February, April time frame. I think we didn't budget for an FTE for second grade then. We were like, let's be conservative. And then during the summer, something happened, right? We found that there will be a need for an additional second grade class, right? And that was announced. I forget whether this was a Deb Lowe Julie thing or if this happened in September, but independent of that, we said, oh, we do need this second grade teacher. I think we rehired somebody back, and that was announced in September. So then they have to be paid. So that's why you have a deficit, because classic, right? You don't know your needs until the day school begins, and then you find you need a teacher, and we hire a teacher. And I guess we'll look at the overall enrollment numbers Monday night. I think Monday night's when they say this is where we landed on enrollment, and people will take a look at the second grade sections, right, and go, that makes sense.
I think the overall enrollment will be discussed at our November meeting, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, is it November? Okay.
Yes. So in our November meeting, we'll discuss current enrollment, and we will have M&P planning group come in to present the projections for next year and future years.
All right.
All right. Anything else, Phil?
That is all the updates that I have.
Okay. Short and sweet. See everybody Monday.
we'll see you then.
Thank you.
Okay.
If not
Enjoy
before
weekend.
then, at Lily's Market, but we'll see you then for sure.
Yeah,
Okay, then.
see ya.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. Do we adjourn officially? Do we
We're
need to-
adjourned.
We're adjourned. Thank you. I'd second.
Bye-bye.
Bye.